Yeah, this was one of those again. He has done it again. I mean, at this point, I don't even know what it means to say he has done it again because he does this all the time. For the past however many months, however many years, Oda has been delivering masterclass after masterclass after masterclass. At this point, it's getting disgusting. Yet again, this is another chapter that leaves me flawed, that leaves me puzzled, that leaves me amazed, that leaves me flabbergasted, and that leaves me with so many questions. I have so many questions again regarding Zoro, regarding Elbaf, regarding King Harold, regarding the world government, regarding Haki. It's like every time Oda closes one door, he opens 60 other doors. I don't know if this man is aware that he said he was going to end One Piece within the next 5 years. Because this doesn't look like a story that will be done in 5 years, if you want my opinion. Every time Oda attempts to close one specific story point, he opens 7 other story points. But anyways, let me not get ahead of myself. One Piece chapter 1152, titled An Awful Day. And boy, especially at the end of the chapter, we have a recollection of an awful day. But let's start from the beginning. First of all, shout out to Yamato. Yamato, we love you. We love what you're doing. Keep doing your thing. We have more urgent matters to get to, so bye-bye. So Scorpion Gaban tells Luffy that if he uses Conqueror's Haki, he will be able to defeat the Holy Knights. And that's very important information because now we know that there are actually ways to defeat the Holy Knights, especially as it pertains to their immortality. We don't know about their other abilities, but specifically when it comes to the immortality, it can be countered with Conqueror's Haki. Now, does that mean that any regular blow in flows with Conqueror's Haki can take them down? Or does it mean that you have to wield your Haki in a specific way in order to stop their immortality? That's an interesting question, especially considering what the conversation eventually turns into. Zoro is finally made aware of the fact that he has Conqueror's Haki, and apparently he had no idea. But Copper Gaban was able to sense it, and Luffy were able to sense it. Does that mean that any person who has Conqueror's Haki can detect it in someone else? Because if it were an observation Haki-based ability, Sanji, for example, who is very good at using observation Haki, will have seen that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, but he didn't. That implies that it's only those who have Conqueror's Haki that can see that in other people. And Luffy was even saying, dog, that shit is oozing off of you, and how come you're not able to notice it? One funny thing is, when Copper Gaban revealed that someone on Luffy's crew had Conqueror's Haki, Sanji was the first person to react because he thought that he was the one who had it, and he was so happy. He was like, yeah, it's me, right? And Copper Gaban was like, nah, it's not you, it's the swordsman. Sanji got so pissed because, he was tired of the disrespect. Like, he's tired of people placing Zoro and Jinbei above him, and he feels like he's just as strong, if not stronger than those two. And I like that. I like that dynamic. Again, it's very similar to Rayleigh and Copper Gaban's dynamic of like they both want to be the second best on the team. Once it is revealed that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, and Zoro looks like he clearly isn't even aware that he has it, Copper Gaban basically teases him and scolds him kind of. And he's like, dog, what the do you mean you weren't aware that you had Haki? Are you stupid? You are the right-hand man of the who says he's going to be the king of the pirates, and you don't even know how to wield Conqueror's Haki. You are ashamed. And Zoro was like, yo, my bad. So that was kind of funny. And you have Loki, who of course wants to be freed. He's trying to make use of any strategy. He's trying to use any reason that he can think of to let this nigga free him. But they all say no. Especially his brother. His brother is like, no, dog, you're a criminal. You're not going anywhere. Loki tries to negotiate with his brother, but his brother is hell-bent. His brother is adamant. His brother is like, you are not going any way. And that's where Luffy steps in, right? And Luffy asks Loki to join his crew. Luffy's like, yo, dog, if you join my crew, I can negotiate with them. I can let them know that now that you are with me, you're a good guy and you can get away with a few things. So join me and let's go. And of course, Loki is like, hell no, what the why the would I come and work under you, measly tiny ass nigga? Are you out of your mind? I'm the Prince of Elba. What's wrong with you? And even Zoro and Sanji object to that. Zoro is like, dog, he is bigger than our ship. How do you intend for him to move with us? And Sanji is like, dog, this mother eats even more food than you. How do you want him to join our crew? We run out of food supplies in no time. And then you have Copper Gaban weighing in, he's not dead yet. He's like, guys, let Loki join you. And of course, Loki's brother goes off on Scorpio Gaban like, are you out of your mind? This motherfucker killed the king of Elbaf. He killed his own father and he put the whole country in peril. And you want me to join him and to trust him? Like, that can happen. That is not gonna happen. Scorpio Gaban reveals that after the infamous incident, he went to the castle and he tried to investigate. He went there with Shanks actually. They tried to investigate and the things they saw were kind of fishy. It didn't look like what people said it was. And so there may have been a possibility that Loki isn't actually guilty of what he's been accused of. This led me to ask myself, did these people actually sentence and detain Loki without even asking for his side of the story? Like, nobody even tried asking me, yo, what happened? What did you see? Like, how was the investigation for this whole incident actually carried out? And it's not like Loki is just some random individual. He's the prince of the kingdom. He's the heir to the throne. So you don't just put him in jail like that without even giving him an opportunity to defend himself. That looks gross to me, if I'm being honest. So Scorpio Gaban mentions that him and Shanks were at Elbaf and they kind of, conducted a small investigation on a small scale. And they feel like they also ought to ask Loki for his side of the story. And Luffy is such a Shanks fanboy that every time that he hears Shanks' name, he drops everything that he's doing and he just runs to go and listen. Like, the obsession that Luffy has with Shanks is like the obsession that some of us have with One Piece. Luffy is obsessed with Shanks the same way we are obsessed with One Piece. The way we want to know every single detail, every single minute piece of lore or trivia about One Piece. That's how Luffy is with Shanks. Like, he wants to know every single detail, every single intricacy of Shanks' life. Like, I'm sure if there were action figures in the One Piece world, if there were Shanks action figures in the One Piece world, Luffy will own all of them, the way some own like 1,000 One Piece figures. We then transition into a flashback happening at specifically 2 locations. The first location is the West Castle, so the Royal Palace, and the second location is Scorpio Gaban's house. At the West Castle, Loki pulls off, and one thing that caught my attention right away is that even in that flashback, Loki's eyes were covered, which implies that he has the ability to see without his bandages, right? And we've even seen that during the Elbaf arc because he was able to recognize that Shamrock and Shanks look exactly alike, even though his eyes were covered. So is this because he has like a Sharingan, Rinnegan type of eye? Or is this because he just has really good sensory abilities? Could it be that his observation Aki is out of here? Could it be that he has some kind of other ability that allows him to perceive things on a different level? Could it be the voice of all things? I would really like for Oda to explain more because that seems pretty intriguing to me. And when Loki is at the castle, he has a conversation with Old Man about how King Harold is now a dog of the world government and how he doesn't with the world government because it rocks, and how he has no interest in involving himself with the politics of Elbaf because Elbaf is pretty much an affiliate of the world government at this point and he can't stand them. He's giving stand-up dude. He's giving stand-up dude. And of course, Old Man is going back and forth with him, going joke for joke, pound for pound like he should. Loki and Old Man Yar working on King Harold being stabbed by multiple soldiers. And then some crazy happens. It seems like from that point, that's when the events that we eventually came to hear about happened. But then in typical Oda style, there were a lot of shadows, so we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know whether King Harold had full control over the situation. We don't know whether Loki had full control over the situation. We don't know how he ended up injuring Yar. We don't even know if he's the one that injured Yar. During this scene, there was also a mention of a devil fruit that is passed from king to king, apparently in Elbaf's tradition. I don't know what the devil fruit is yet, but it's probably a very powerful devil fruit, and we'll probably end up hearing about it at some point in the story. During this flashback, we also see Scorpio Gaban and Shanks hanging out. They talk about their past, how they used to be on Roger's crew, how they haven't seen each other in 10 years. And yes, we see Shanks with 2 arms. Oh my god, rare footage of Shanks with 2 arms. I lost my mind. Apparently, Shanks had a tattoo on his left arm. Knowing Oda, that tattoo might or might not have some kind of symbolic or significance, you'll see. But I was so hyped up about just seeing Shanks with two arms. You basically see a typical day at Copacabana's household, a typical day, him hanging out with his wife and his gigantic kid. And Ripley is like, hey Shanks, tell me a story about Yastan from back in the day. And Shanks is like, you wanna know something? Well, back in the day, the OG was a and before he could finish his sentence, Copacabana was like, Nick, if you say one word, I will kill you right here. You are trying to destroy my beautiful marriage. I worked all these years. I got the right wife. I married. I had a kid. Now I have a happy life. And you want to come here and destroy my household? Are you out of your mind, motherfucker? During that brief bit between Copacabana and Shanks, we also come across a few nuggets. One is the fact that Copacabana mentions that Shanks is a child of destiny. What does that mean? Does that mean that Shanks is the reincarnation of the Sage of the Six Paths or something like that? Does that mean Shanks is Beyonce? Does that mean Shanks has some sort of symbolic power and that is meant to play a key role in the upcoming battle? So me personally, I don't like those tropes in fiction when someone is designated as the chosen one or the reincarnation or the child of the prophecy. I think those tropes ruin fiction, but let's see how Oda is going to go about that. We also find out that Shanks is acquainted with King Harold. Actually, he's so acquainted with King Harold that they met at Marie-Joie's and they had a conversation in the political realm. But because they were at the Holy Land, they couldn't talk freely. And so it seems like one reason why Shanks came to Elbaf was to finally catch up with King Harold and have that conversation that they were always meant to have. And then Shanks mentions that I wanted to have that conversation with him before it's too late. What does that mean? What do you mean by before it's too late? Does that mean that he predicted the demise of King Harold? Was he aware that the world government was eventually going to get rid of King Harold? I mean, it's starting to look like, through the information that we've gotten throughout the previous chapters and this chapter, we are kind of able to infer that there was some kind of storyline between King Harold and the world government, and that King Harold eventually ended up doing something that the world government didn't like. And you know how the world government works. You know how Im-Sama works. When you do something that they do not like, they make you pay for it. And usually the price is your life. So I don't think it was far-fetched for Shanks to say something like before it's too late. Does that also imply that the world government would have had a hand into the demise of King Harold? That's a good way to tie things. Does that mean that Im-Sama had something to do with King Harold passing away? Maybe. That's not off the table, at least as far as I'm concerned. And again, this leads me to asking myself again, who the is Shanks, bro? Who is this Who is this? This is everything, everywhere, all at once. He's a pirate, he's with the Pirate King, he's a world noble, he's a Marie-Joie, he's a celestial dragon. Bro, like, now we find out he's a child of the prophecy. I'm like, is there something that Shanks can do? Yeah, dog, like, where is all this aura forming going? Like, is One Piece is supposed to be a story about Luffy, but now it looks like it's a story about Shanks. I don't know what Shanks did to Oda that every single thing about Shanks has to be hyped to 1,000. Because how are you one of the most legendary pirates of all time, and at the same time you are a celestial dragon? Like, make that make sense. Shanks, who are you? Who are you? Who the are you? Who are you? What do you want? What is your goal in the story? What is your goal in One Piece? What now more than ever? I want to know, what is Shanks' mission? Right? What does he want to do with his life? Like, what is his end goal? What is his end game? Because it doesn't seem to me like he wants to be king of the pirates. It doesn't seem to me like he particularly cares about being the strongest pirate in the world. It doesn't seem to me like he particularly cares about taking down the world government. So, like, what do you want exactly? There's no way a character is this powerful and this important and he wants nothing. There's no way Oda placed a character like this in the middle of One Piece just for decoration. Shanks wants something and I want to know what the he wants. Anyways, I might do a video on Shanks maybe, I don't know, this week or next week or in the near future, so stay posted. Let's move on. The last part of the chapter is, again, a flashback within the flashback. So a flashback back to the flashback. This is like 100 plus years ago. This is the youth of King Harold. Apparently, when he had just been crowned the king of Elbaf and he was just going around, he was part of the giant pirates and he was going around being reckless as like all that that they say about him being the peacekeeper, him being a king of love and a king of peace, all that none of the in that flashback looked like that. He was out here tearing down, beating people up, being reckless, being a delinquent. So how exactly did he go from being that devil to being this epitome, this symbol of peace that he's known for these days? Was that all a lie? Was that propaganda? Does the world government have something to do with that? We will eventually find out, I'm assuming. So that's how the chapter ends. Again, masterclass. One Piece has done it again. Oda has done it again. Congratulations. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to think of One Piece at this point. So, bro, I think I will have to take a tablet of paracetamol and relax because this is just like what One Piece does to our brains is just different. It's different. But once again, thank you for sticking with me till the end. This is the end of the podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube, follow me on all the socials, and keep it locked to hear for more content. I will see you when I see you. Goodbye, arrivederci, hasta la vista, au revoir, salam, shalom, annyeong, peace.